Hi, thanks for joining me today as I take a walk down memory lane. Back in 2015, I spent about 3 months in Germany. While I was there, I not only fell in love with the country and the people, but also the food. One of my favorite things as a side dish to get when I go to a German restaurant is the German potato salad. So today, I'm trying to recreate that for you. So half an hour from now, less on the video, you'll find out if this is going to be a family favorite or a phenomenal fail. It's time to get going with the potatoes. I have red potatoes that I have washed and scrubbed because I'm not going to peel them. I'm just going to cut them and then into the water they'll go. I'm going to cut them into bite-sized pieces, and I'm going to do my best to get them the same size. Now I'm going to put them into my measuring cup because I want 4 cups of potatoes. Alright, so throw those in there to measure. And if you want to peel the potatoes, you can, but for this I like to see the red. I think it just makes it really pretty, especially when you add parsley to it. It makes a really nice presentation. Another way you can do this is if you want some red but not too much, peel a few, leave a few whole, or leave a few with the peeling, and then that way you've got kind of the best of both worlds. You can also cut these larger or smaller depending on your preference. One important thing I forgot to tell you about making this potato salad. You want your pieces of potato to stay intact. You don't want them to mush up, and you also don't want it to soak up all of the dressing that we'll put on it later that we're going to make. So you want it to be kind of a waxy potato so that it will hold its shape and so that the dressing will sit more on the outside instead of soaking in and getting too dry. I ended up with just over 4 cups of potatoes. It's all in the water now. I'm going to give it a rinse, refill it with some fresh water, and then onto the stove it'll go with some salt in it just so that it flavors the potatoes a little bit and comes to a boil a little bit faster. And now it's time to start working on the dressing for the potato salad. Everyone knows how to make bacon. Make sure you keep that grease because we're going to use the grease to make the dressing. I like lots of bacon in my potato salad. So I have 6 slices of bacon and just chop it into little bits. So a nice quick chop of the bacon. And make your bacon ahead of time, let it cool down, let it get crispy so that it will chop easily like this. You don't want to try to do it while it's hot. So there we are, into our bowl. Alright. Next I have an onion that I need to thinly slice, and I'm going to try a trick that I saw on Facebook earlier this week, and let's see if it works. Got some paper towel here, going to wet it and put it by my cutting board. That attracts the juices instead of your eyes, and it's supposed to make you cry less. We'll see if it works. Okay. And here goes the onion. And I'm just going in really thin slices. And so far, this seems to be working pretty well. Yeah, this definitely helped a lot. So thumbs up Facebook, and thanks to the many friends that I have on Facebook that shared that tip. My potatoes are back on the main stove. It's just starting to boil and cooking. I want them to get tender, but not to the point that they're falling apart. So I'll have to keep an eye on them. I have my pan With the bacon grease, it is getting hot. And as soon as it's nice and hot, we will start with the onion. All right, we have a little bit of a sizzle, so in go the onion. And this is most of the bacon grease from the 6 pieces of onion, from the 6 pieces of bacon that I cooked earlier. Get that going. Cook this on a medium heat and until the onions are cooked nicely, a little translucent, nice and wilted, browned a little bit. So let's just get that going. And this is 1 small sweet onion, thinly sliced. Okay, the onions are looking good. I'm going to check on the potatoes real quick, see if they're almost done, and then I'll be right back. The potatoes are done. The onions are starting to burn, so we've got to get moving fast here. The first thing I'm going to add to this very quickly is a 1/3 cup of vinegar with 2½ tablespoons of water added. Let's get that in there to stop those from burning. Okay, there we go. There's a few, a little done, but that's all right. Okay, so there is that. To that, I'm going to add a scant teaspoon of salt, a tablespoon of sugar. I'm going to grind some fresh black pepper over it, just, however much. I kind of like, you've got the sweet and the savory with the vinegar and the sugar, but I like to have a little bit of bite from the pepper in there also. When I went to the grocery store, they were actually out of fresh parsley. So I ended up having to buy some dried parsley. I'm going to sprinkle that into the potatoes and just kind of over the potatoes. Maybe 1.5 tablespoons there of that. This has started boiling, so this is finished. So here are my potatoes. I'm just going to sit them here while I pour this over it. All right. And I'm just going to gently toss it together because I want it to coat the potatoes, but I don't want to mash my potatoes. Now the other thing I'm going to do is add the majority of the bacon and gently, again, stir that in. The next thing, I'm going to sprinkle on just a little bit of celery seed. That was maybe 1/4 teaspoon. Another quick stir, and really it would have been better if I had just sprinkled and done the stirring maybe only once or twice, but too late now, right? Okay, and I am going to leave this alone now. Before we go, let's taste it. Going to just grab a piece that's got, this has a little bit of everything. There's a piece of bacon, there's some onion, I see the celery seed on it, a little bit of pepper. Perfect. The sugar helps to take the sharpness out of the vinegar. You definitely taste the vinegar, but it's not an overpowering taste, and being mixed with everything else, it's just really flavorful. I'm catching myself going for a second bite here. Probably wouldn't hurt if it had just a little bit more salt, but this is fantastic. It's ready to go. I did reserve a couple of tablespoons of bacon so that I can just sprinkle that over the top as a nice little garnish before I serve it. But yeah, this is fantastic. As always, the full recipe with all the tips and tricks will be in the description box below. Please be sure and check that out so that you have the step-by-step instructions on how to make this German potato salad. If you enjoyed today's video, please be sure and give it a big thumbs up. If you've not already, please do subscribe and ring that notification bell so that you find out every time I upload a new video to YouTube. Thanks for watching. God bless.